Okay, so this is your overview of photosynthesis. We're going to start with the light-dependent part first, and we're going to start in a chloroplast. You can see we've got an outer membrane and an inner membrane, stacks of thylakoids. Each thylakoid looks like a little coin. And then we have the fluid portion outside the thylakoid that is the stroma. And I've got a big thylakoid down here. Anything that's happening in this thylakoid happens in all of those. And outside we have the stroma. And before we actually get started, we need to write our equation for photosynthesis. So we're going to start out with 6 CO2 plus 6 water molecules yielding glucose and oxygen as waste. Okay, we start out, here we've got chlorophyll, and there's electrons in it. They get excited by light from the sun. They move to something we call the electron transport chain. And the energy from the electron that's excited is used to pump hydrogen protons into the thylakoid space. You build up potential energy, which then gets converted to mechanical energy. And ATP synthase is an enzyme that uses that energy to convert ADP to ATP. We lost our electron here, so we're going to get it back by splitting water, actually 2 at a time. Oxygen gas is released as waste, and we have the hydrogen atom we're going to split into a proton and an electron, and the electron is what we use to replace what we lost over there. So that's what you wind up with. Now that is photosystem 2, steps 1 through 4. Now we're going to do photosystem 1. We do them out of order. Sorry, it's a little bit wet there. We do them out of order because photosystem 1 was discovered first, and we call it photosystem 1 because it was discovered first, even though it happens second. So, same thing here, we've got chlorophyll. Electrons get excited. They move on to an enzyme which is going to use that energy to convert NADP to NADPH. And we do call this enzyme NADPH reductase. Let's write our summary down here. Big thing is that we made energy carriers. They will move on to another part of the cycle, or photosynthesis, which is a cycle, the Calvin cycle, where we are going to actually use those carriers to help us make glucose. And then the second major thing that we did was we split water, and O2 gas was released as waste. So if you would like to continue watching, then I'm going to go ahead and write the steps for each one, and if you don't want to watch that part, then you can go ahead and stop and move on to something else. So for our step 1, light excites electrons, which will then go to the ETC. For our step 2, which is happening right here, the electron energy is used to generate a proton gradient. And down here, our step 3, the proton gradient is used to make ATP. And down here, we've got step 4. Water is split and O2 gas is released. And now our steps 5 and 6. Step 5, light excites electrons and electron energy is used to make NADPH. And that is it for Photosystems 2 and 1, which are the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis.